So there is this guy Sam who makes videos about secretly camping in the woods. He's pretty well known for finding hidden spots where he can spend the night without anyone noticing and without paying. Recently he went back to a specific camping spot he would been to before. But the last time he was there, things got really strange. He even said he was chased by some weird people. Even though that happened, Sam decided to go back to that same creepy spot. He had already spent a whole month camping secretly and making videos. In this video, at first, everything seemed normal. But Sam mentioned that he had seen strange people while camping in the past. As he walked through the thick plants, he was trying to find the exact place where he camped before.
This looks like where somebody has set up a tent.
He was hoping that whoever or whatever was there last time was not around anymore. But he mostly thought it was just other people. He set up his camp just like before, but without a tent this time, because he wanted to make it a little spookier. As the sun started to set, Sam was making dinner and talking about his camping gear. He was just relaxing and enjoying the evening. Then suddenly, he heard someone yelling in the distance. It was not too far away. And then, things got really scary. He heard a scream coming from deep in the woods, like really far away. This made the night feel very unsettling and ruined the peaceful vibe. Shortly after the scream, Sam heard a gunshot nearby.
On purpose, so they know that I'm here? Holy crap, okay.
Which made him very worried. He thought that maybe the person who screamed had a gun, or it could have been a hunter. But then he saw someone standing a few hundred yards away, just staring at him.
There's definitely people walking over there.
This person started walking closer and closer. Sam could not tell if this person was dangerous, but he knew it is always better to be careful.
It's about 200 yards away. There's definitely somebody there.
Even if someone looks harmless, they might not be. He even said it was kind of funny because he knew weird things had happened there before and people might come back. Then he heard them walking closer again. So Sam decided it was best to leave.
I think they just saw me now because where I walked is more in that clearing over there.
He quickly started packing up his things because the person was getting closer and he did not want to take any chances.
Super thick over there. Someone's walking back behind this over here.
As Sam was quickly leaving, he looked back and was shocked to see the same person just a few feet away, staring right at him. He panicked and ran away from the area as fast as he could.
We're gonna stay tonight, boys and girls. Ah! Okay. All right. Okay, that guy was right. Okay, let's go. All right, I'm out. See ya.
The next video is from Tim Morozov's YouTube channel, a Russian channel that looks into life's mysteries, searching for answers and proof of the unknown. Even though Tim is famous for his spooky videos, he also shares fun personal projects, like DIY videos where he builds things like furniture and a camper van. In this video, Tim goes into a forest that local people are scared of because of creepy stories. They say a mysterious sorcerer lives deep in these woods. Some think he protects our world from terrible creatures, while others are afraid he is the source of the scary things in the shadows. Whatever the truth, the legend is well known, and most people avoid the forest, especially after dark. But Tim is not like most people. He is determined to find out the truth. So he decided to camp overnight in this scary forest, hoping to see the mysterious sorcerer. It's July 16th, 2023. The sun is going down as Tim and his loyal dog, Kuchum, arrive at the edge of the woods. They are looking for the perfect spot to set up camp. At first, the forest looks normal, with tall trees swaying in the breeze and birds singing in the distance. But even though everything seems ordinary, Tim feels uneasy. He reminds himself why he is there, tries to calm his nerves, and goes deeper into the unknown. After finding a good spot and setting up camp, Tim starts to feel a little more relaxed. He eats a quick meal and takes some time to enjoy the peaceful sounds of nature before night. To avoid attracting attention, he decides not to make a fire. It's better to stay hidden in case someone is lurking in the woods. As time passes, darkness covers the forest, making everything eerily still. But just as Tim is about to go into his tent to get warm, his dog Kuchum suddenly becomes tense. His ears are perked up and his eyes are fixed on something in the distance. Completely on edge, Tim hesitates for a moment. Kuchum does not usually bark for no reason, and the way he is acting makes Tim feel a chill. Holding his breath, he listens carefully to the silence of the forest, hoping that whatever has caught his dog's attention is not dangerous. But as the seconds pass and he cannot hear anything unusual, Kuchum's barking only gets louder. Realizing he can't ignore it anymore, Tim takes a deep breath, steadies himself, and cautiously steps outside to see what is there.
Kuchum.
Tim looks around in the dark, but nothing seems out of place. Yet Kuchum remains focused on something unseen. His body is tense, and he keeps barking. The eerie silence of the forest only makes the situation more unsettling. And Tim starts to feel uneasy. Trusting his instincts, he reaches for the thermal camera he brought just in case, if something or someone is out there. This should help him see it. Holding his breath, he raises the camera and starts scanning the trees, hoping to find an explanation for Kuchum's strange behavior. Tired from the long day and the tension, Tim finally settles into his tent, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling. Kuchum is still restless, but eventually lies down beside him, though his ears remain perked, listening for any sound outside. As a precaution, Tim leaves his camera recording just in case something unusual happens during the night. He closes his eyes, hoping to finally get some rest. Hours pass silently until suddenly Kuchum starts barking again. His dog started barking, but Tim thought it was just another animal and waited for a moment, hoping Kuchum would return to the tent on his own. However, as the minutes passed and the barking suddenly stopped, Kuchum was still nowhere to be seen. Becoming increasingly worried, Tim decided to step outside to see what was going on.
Я не знаю, что делать. Прошло уже 2 часа. Как я зову Кучума?
Kuchum was nowhere to be seen, and even after waiting for a while, hoping he would return, there was still no sign of him. Growing increasingly worried and unsure of what to do, Tim decided to build a fire, hoping the light and warmth would guide his dog back to the camp if he had gotten lost. He waits through the rest of the evening, but even when the sun comes up in the morning, Kuchum is still gone. Feeling very worried, Tim waits for a couple more hours, thinking about what to do. He is worried that if he goes to search for the dog, Kuchum might return while he is away. But Tim also feels he needs to search for his dog in case he needs help. Hours go by, and still there is no sign of Kuchum. Tim's food and water are running out, and it's getting late. So eventually Tim decides to slowly pack his things, still hoping Kuchum will return. After packing up all his belongings, Tim makes the difficult decision to search for Kuchum. He had waited for so long and felt sure that if his dog could or wanted to return, he would have by now. Desperate, Tim goes into the dense woods, calling and whistling, hoping for a sign from his loyal companion. This video ends here, leaving viewers worried and wondering if Tim ever found his dog. Although this video did not have an update, Tim later shared a more recent video where, thankfully, Kuchum is seen healthy and well. This confirms that after all the worry, Tim was able to reunite with his faithful friend. While no evidence of the mysterious sorcerer rumored to live in these woods was found, the important thing is that Tim and Kuchum are safe. This experience reminded Tim how important it is to be careful when going into such large, unexplored forests. It shows how unpredictable your evening can be while camping in the wilderness. On Halloween 2024, a YouTube channel called Adventure Outdoors posted a spooky video. It was about two hikers, Martin and the channel's owner, who planned a simple overnight stay in an old stone shelter called a Bothy in the southern part of Scotland. They wanted to ride out an approaching storm in the empty shelter, planning to eat, drink, and tell stories. But their normal camping trip quickly became creepy. The Bothy had been there since at least 1850, and people had told spooky stories about it for years. Hikers claimed they had heard screams at night, One really scary story was about a man who was so terrified by something he saw in the window that he completely lost control of himself. Martin and his friend arrived not believing in ghosts, just wanting a good night. The video then shows them inside the body. The host gives a quick tour showing a small kitchen area with nice views and some leftover food like noodles and pasta.
So we've just had a mooch around and we've got some water. Marty's got a fairly comprehensive water filtration system on the go. We just need to find somewhere to...
Then there is a main room with a stove and places to sleep. He figures about 8 people could sleep there comfortably. It was mid-afternoon, so they decided to go for a walk to get water for their dinner. They talked about whether the body was haunted.
Got this woodland area.
Some people had weird experiences there, but both of them were skeptical. Martin said he did not believe in that stuff, and the place did not feel spooky to him. The only thing he thought might be creepy at night was the lack of curtains, imagining seeing a face at the window. They looked around the empty body, noting that it was clean and had some leftover food. Then they went outside to get water before the storm got bad. That's when things started to feel strange. While inside the body, one of them suddenly noticed some hanging things swinging on their own. It started slowly, but they were sure they had not touched them. At first, they laughed it off, thinking it was just an old building and the wind was picking up. But the night was just beginning, and this was the first sign that something was wrong. Later, it got dark and the storm got much worse. The wind was really strong. They were trying to enjoy their drinks, but then a strange cold feeling came over the room, making them both uneasy. Then the door moved. At first, it was just a little bit like the wind, but then it slammed shut hard, as if someone or something had pushed it.
Whoa.
Oh. I'm out. I'm out of here. No.
The two men were startled and jumped up, wanting to run. They were quiet for a moment, trying to figure out what happened. But the more they thought about it, the less sense it made. Then one of them suddenly said, "Hold on a minute," and then yelled, I'm out of here." His friend said they could not leave him there. They explained to the camera that they had just run out of the room because the door started moving on its own and then slammed shut. Martin was outside and did not want to come back in, saying it was really weird. The host's light even went out. He said if he had his tent, he would sleep outside in the storm. They both agreed it was really unsettling. After that, the atmosphere completely changed. The once cozy body felt heavy and scary, like something unseen was there. Then just as they were starting to calm down, they saw something that terrified them. A chair in the corner of the room started to move by itself. It was slow, deliberate movement, unlike anything they had ever seen.
It's the only rational explanation, even though... Nah, I'm not even looking at that. No, I'm not looking at it. It's moving, right? I'm not even looking at that. No, I'm not looking at it. It's moving, right? That's what
At first, it was barely noticeable. But as they watched in horror, it kept moving as if invisible hands were pulling it. They finally realized they were not alone in the body. Martin was clearly scared and refused to go near the chair. You could hear the fear in his voice. This was not just their imagination. Something real was happening. The two men had a terrible choice to make: stay inside with whatever was there or go out into the raging storm. One of them said it could not have been the wind, even though it was blowing hard outside. He was clearly freaked out by the moving chair and said he wanted to leave. They felt helpless because the storm made it almost impossible to leave, and the body, which was supposed to be safe, now felt like a trap. With no other option, they tried to ignore what was happening. They sat down, drank their wine, and waited for morning. Throughout the night, they heard strange sounds, whispers in the wind, faint knocks on the walls, and the occasional creaking of furniture that neither of them had touched. At one point, the chair moved again, but this time they were too scared to even acknowledge it. One of them said he was just going to drink more wine. because it felt like something truly evil was present, not just a ghost. By morning, the storm had stopped, and with the daylight, they felt a sense of relief. They quickly packed up and left, barely talking about the night before. Whatever had happened in the body, they just wanted to forget it. Okay, so back in June 2022, Megan was by herself in the quiet, remote woods of Humboldt County, California, a place famous for its giant redwood trees and peacefulness. What was supposed to be a relaxing break in nature quickly turned scary for her. She was sitting in an open area, recording herself, when suddenly she heard quick footsteps.
Like a true narcissist. Like the true narcissist here.
Before she could figure out what was happening, a man appeared out of nowhere and started walking straight towards her. He was holding a broken glass bottle.
Okay, well, you scared me.
While filming might seem like a natural reaction in some situations, when a potential threat appears, immediate safety should be the top priority. In such moments, focusing on creating distance or preparing to run might be more crucial than continuing to record. Megan grabbed her things, ready to run, but then the man stopped just a few feet away. He started saying strange things.
Okay, well, you scared me.
Oh, thanks. Sweetheart, don't worry.
Okay, I'm
You're
sorry.
probably more dangerous than me. You're probably more evil than me. Look at the dark hair you're saying.
His words did not make sense. And because his intentions were unclear, it was really frightening. Megan said she only goes to the woods for about 4 hours to relax before going home. Then she mentioned the man acting like nothing happened, calling him a true narcissist.
I'm shaking. That was scary. I can't even enjoy the woods because of tweakers who's coming right at me. And so obviously I'm gonna be scared.
Lingering could have put her at further risk if the man returned or if there were others nearby. On the recording, you can hear the interaction.
Sweetheart, don't worry.
Okay, I'm
You're
sorry.
probably more dangerous than me. You're probably more evil than me. Look at the dark hair you're saying.
Such an experience can be deeply distressing. Just as suddenly as he appeared, the man turned and walked back into the trees, disappearing. Megan was left on camera visibly shaken, speaking through tears and with a trembling voice as she tried to explain what had just happened.
And then he's like, you're probably more scary than me. Your dark hair and your veins.
This incident should prompt Megan to think about her safety when going into remote areas alone. She should let someone know her exact location and expected return time in her family, and carrying a personal safety device like pepper spray or a loud alarm and knowing how to use it is the safer approach. The big question is why the man was there. Why was he walking through the woods, far from any path or road, holding a piece of broken glass? Was he lost, mentally unstable, or something worse? We might never know what he intended. But it is clear that Megan was fortunate to get away without being hurt before moving on. Josh is a young and brave YouTuber who makes videos for YouTube on his channel called Exploring with Josh. He is famous for going into old empty buildings and places people think are haunted. Usually he wants to find secret things and film things that are not known. But sometimes it feels like Josh is more excited about the scary or interesting parts and might not always think enough about how to stay safe. It would be good if he talked more about being careful before going into these kinds of places. One day, August 7th, 2016, Josh and his 3 friends, John, Steven and Cody, went to a place that was very different from the usual old buildings. It was a huge cave made of lava called Ape Cave in Washington state. They thought it would be a fun thing to do in the summer.
Lucky we got some lanterns. Well, they do. I have the A7S too. You already know.
But it quickly became something creepy. They went into the cave with lights, feeling happy and excited.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I don't know how much this lantern's gonna work, but no, it's so dark. Oh, that's what it is.
But as they crawled deeper, the feeling changed. The path became very narrow and 2 of the friends decided to stop there. Josh and Steve kept crawling on their hands and knees into the cold and dark. Even though it was hard to move and they were not sure where they were going, they wanted to see what was at the end. Finally, the small tunnel opened up into a bigger room. They felt a little better but still uneasy. When they started to go back, they saw something they did not expect. A young girl, all by herself. She was quiet and shaking. She did not speak English and just looked at them with big scared eyes.
English?
I don't know
You
if
speak
they
English? No English.
No?
Oh, okay.
Josh tried to talk to her, but she did not understand. Then he saw his other friends and thought the girl might be their daughter. Even though she could not speak English, they tried to tell her to come with them and that they would help her find her way back. They stopped filming and helped the girl walk towards the entrance of the cave. Outside, they found her parents.
Her daughter's up here, she's scared.
They don't speak. She doesn't speak English.
Who were very worried and calling her name in another language. The girl was finally back with her parents, and even though she was safe, she was still very scared. Josh later talked about how strange it was to find the little girl all alone in the dark cave without a light.
As we were about to leave, this little girl comes up out of nowhere, scares us, and at first we're like, wait, whose parents are hers? And
She did not speak English, and they did not know how she got so far inside. He said that her parents were very worried and had been calling for her. The idea was that she got lost from her parents and kept crawling without knowing how far she was going. Even though Josh explained what might have happened, it would have been helpful if he also talked about how important it is for parents to watch their children closely in places like this and how dangerous it can be. There were still questions that no one could answer. Why did not the girl shout for help? Why did not her parents hear her sooner? And what if Josh and Steve had turned around when the cave got small? Would anyone have found her? Some people who watched the video thought there might be something strange about the ape cave, like a ghost or something that makes people go deeper. What started as just exploring became a rescue, and things could have turned out very badly. Josh kept going, and that might have saved the girl's life. But the quite scary feeling of the cave and not knowing how the girl got so far alone stayed with him. So if you ever go to a place you don't know, think about who might be there in the dark and remember to be careful and stay with your group. Grizzly Gaz is a YouTube channel about camping, run by a guy named Gaz. He has lots of videos of his hiking and camping trips in the UK with his French bulldog Fendi. Gaz often camps in tough weather conditions and sometimes films unexpected meetings with wild animals in the woods. While the start was calm, solo campers in remote areas should always prioritize situational awareness. Regularly scanning their surroundings, even during routine tasks, is crucial for safety. In April 2023, Gaz posted a video about a camping trip in the UK woods. The start of the trip was normal. The video showed Gaz setting up his tent and getting firewood while Fendi stayed with him as the sun went down. Then something unexpected happened. While Gaz was cooking steak over the fire,
Right, we've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye.
a random man in jeans and a coat walked up to his campsite and asked for a beer and some food.
Don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak, so...
Just some random crate wandering about.
You want...
Gaz was surprised and a bit creeped out by this stranger, Martin, who seemed a little confused and talked incoherently. Gaz shared his steak dinner with Martin, who told him he was homeless and had messed up his life with drugs. Martin then suddenly left without saying thank you, while Gaz was chopping more wood. Gaz's decision to share his food with the homeless man demonstrated empathy, but also potentially increased his vulnerability in a remote setting. In this situation, maintaining a cautious distance and avoiding immediate offers of supplies is wise. Assessing the person's demeanor and having a clear escape plan are important safety measures for solo campers. Because of this strange encounter, Gaz felt unsafe and decided to leave the campsite and go home. He worried the man might tell others about him and his expensive camera gear.
Got to tell his mates there's a guy camping out with a load of filming equipment.
Leading to robbery or something worse. Leaving valuable equipment unattended in a potentially compromised campsite significantly increases the risk of theft. Having a pre-planned exit strategy and being willing to abandon a campsite if it feels unsafe are important safety protocols. The uncertainty surrounding the stranger's motives highlights the unpredictable nature of encounters in remote wilderness areas. To see what happened overnight, Gaz left a camera behind.
But my gut were telling me, don't stay there. So I packed up, throwing a load of water on fire. Now I'm making my way out. But I'll see it morning.
When he returned the next morning, the camera was gone.
Really, because then our trail camera's gone. That's where it was, on this tree.
It was hard to know if Martin was just confused or had bad intention. Either way, it was probably a good idea that Gaz left the campsite for the night, especially since his camera disappeared. The loss of the trail camera represents not only a financial loss, but also a loss of potential evidence and insight into what occurred after Gaz left.